Dear students, here we are starting the chapter human eye. So I have this is the diagram of the eyeball, like the eye here, the white part and the black part. If you take it out, it is like this. You know, it's a spherical object with the front part bulging out. Now let us start one by one. Let us try to see what is it. The front part is this side, and the back part, that means what is inside the eyeball. If that the back part, now we are going to study. So you know, the eyeball, as I said, this is the spherical part, and this black part in front, or green part, or whatever be the color of your that bulging out part, is the cornea. Now we are going what is behind. So it's actually a bag. It's a spherical bag, you can say, and in that the outermost layer, like any organism, is the protective layer called sclera or sclerotic. It's a protective covering. It's a very tough muscular covering. And then actually the eyeball contains three muscular layers. So the first one is the sclera, which is the protective covering, and it prevents any injury to the eye, and it prevents the eye from the outer world. You know, some part of that the white part is visible from the front. That is a muscular layer and a protective layer in which every other thing of the eye is contained. Then there is the middle layer. Out of the three muscular layer, the middle layer is the choroid, which keeps the eye dark from within. That means if there is any internal reflection, then the images found by the eyes may not be clear, blurred, or might be multiple images can be found. Therefore, there should be complete darkness to get the image right, and therefore the choroid walls are the dark, the dark part muscular layer, and which keeps the eye dark from within. And above that is the retina. The retina serves as the screen. On the retina, the red part, you say, here if an image is formed, that is picked up by the brain and perceived by the brain. So when light ray travels, then here the image will be formed. The optic nerves will take up the visual signals to our brain, and the brain will interpret the image. So just imagine I am looking at that camera which is shooting. So the image is being formed on my retina, and the visual image signals are sent to my brain, and through the optic nerve, and the brain will perceive the image, and the rod and the cone cells are there on retina, which have got the functions to play of giving the color and the shape of the image, giving colors to the image, the shape to the image. So that is the biological part, and which later on we can see in our biology chapter when we study eye. At present we have to understand this, that the retina serves as the screen. Then all the optic nerve from here, from the retina, which bring the visual signals, the bundle goes from here. So this place is called the blind spot, because if by the way some light is bent here and they intersect here, that image, the image will not be perceived by the brain, because here there is no retina actually, and therefore that is the blind spot. Now the inner part, now there is an eye lens. The eye lens divides the eye into two parts, the front bulging part and the back part. And in the back part there is a jelly like fluid called the vitreous humor. So it maintains the shape, because the eye is spherical, so it maintains the shape of the eye, and it keeps it compact type, and it also allows the light rays to travel. So it is an optic medium and to intersect at retina so that the image is formed. Every ray which intersect at retina, all the rays which intersect at retina, they form the image. If any ray intersects before or after the retina, then the image will not be formed. So now what happens if we come to the front part? So see, there is an eye lens. It's a biconvex lens, a jelly type lens, which can alter its shape and size depending upon what it is viewing, a near object or a far object, a large object or a small object, an object in bright light or an object in dim light. or according to that this lens will change or alter its shape, therefore alter its focal length. So it's a very unique lens which has got flexible focal length, you can say. It can alter its focal length. Sometimes when the eye is viewing a distant object, so the curving required is less, so the eye lens can become like this, and when it is seeing the nearer object, the same eye lens can become like this. So here this lens is the part of a very large spherical ball, so its radius of curvature will be more, so its focal length will be more. This one will be from a small spherical ball, so its focal length will be less, and the radius of curvature will be less, so focal length will be less. Therefore the focal length can alter of our eye lens. Your eye lens can have different focal length, therefore different magnifying power. So you can imagine when you get an artificial lens, its focal length is fixed and its power is fixed. But here our eye lens has got auto adjusting power. Yes, there is a range within which it works. Then the front part, when you look at somebody's eye, then what happens when you look at somebody's eyes, then you'll see a colored part. So for some people it's a black part, for some people it's green, for some it's bluish, for some it's brown. So when you see from front, there will be there will be this colored part and there will be a hole. All right, there will be a colored part and then there will be a hole. Now try to understand. So the iris is the diaphragm, that color part. This hole, when it is in dim light, it can become larger. The hole can become larger. That means the pupil, that hole is the pupil, and the iris is the diaphragm. No, it is when it is in very high intensity light, then the hole becomes smaller. That means the pupil becomes smaller, and when it is looking at something in your dim light, then what will happen? This will become larger, so that more light can come in. Anyway, it also changes, the pupil size can change due to shock. Like suddenly you see something, you're scared, then you want to see things clearly, so you try to increase that diameter of that hole, that is the pupil. So and that is why when somebody dies, the pupil becomes still, the pupil size is still, all right, because, and that is why the doctors first they will also check whether the pupil is sensitive to light or not. That will, if the person dies, then the eye doesn't function, and the first thing which will stop is the pupil increasing or decreasing its diameter because of the non-functioning of the iris. So pupil is that hole which is there, and iris is the part which is making that hole bigger or smaller. So this whole part is the iris, and the colored part, and the hole inside is the pupil. Then between the eye lens and the outermost layer, there is also another protective layer in front. In between there is aqueous humor. So that is also a fluid which not only keeps the shape maintained, but also sometimes if unwanted things will enter the eyes, then it will secrete the liquid through certain and then what will happen, that through in form of tears, that waste can come out. Then the ciliary muscles, actually what happens when the ciliary muscles contract, then the eye lens becomes larger and its focal length increases, and when the ciliary muscles contract, expand, then what happens, expand means it will press from both the sides, then the eye lens becomes smaller. And suspensory ligament also keep on holding. That ligaments and the muscles, they help in muscle movement or the organ movement. So that is there. So this is how the eye functions. So first thing is that we wanted to, this is how the eye structure, I mean to say. This is what is the structure of eye. So next video we will see how does eye function.